thoracic and abdominal aorta. You already know that aorta consists of three departments. First, that is ascending aorta, and here it is bulbous aorta in the beginning has two coronary arteries. Then arcus aorta, and here it is brachiocephalic trunk, left common carotid and left subclavian artery, and then descendens part of aorta descendens, and descendens part of aorta subdivides into two, thoracic and abdominal part, and border between them, that is diaphragm. Both thoracic and abdominal aorta has parietal and visceral branches. If we speak about thoracic aorta, parietal branches are arteria intercostalis posteriores, posterior intercostal arteries. Total number of posterior intercostal arteries are 12, but directly from aorta start 10 arteries, from third till 12th. And what about first and second? First and second posterior intercostal arteries, if you remember, that is subclavian artery, and in the second department of subclavian artery, in interscalenal space, it gives truncus costa cervicalis, and truncus costa cervicalis gives arteria intercostalis suprema, and this artery subdivides into first and second posterior intercostal arteries. Oh, and here it is the same deep artery of the neck, arteria profunda coli. That is first and second from costa cervical trunk. Another 10 posterior intercostal arteries start from thoracic aorta, clear. The same in thoracic aorta, we have arteria phrenica superior, it goes to diaphragm, it is also parietal branch, and visceral branches are arteria bronchialis, bronchial arteries. Arteria bronchialis, it goes to lungs and supply them with oxygenated blood, arteria bronchialis. Then arteria pericardiaca goes to pericardium and supplies it. And arteria esophagealis goes to esophagus and supplies. Clear? Bronchial, pericardiac, and esophageal branches. It's the same, we have arteria mediastinalis goes to lymph nodes in mediastinum. It is thoracic aorta. Now abdominal aorta. Abdominal aorta is the same like thoracic, has parietal and visceral branches. Parietal, they are arteria lumbalis, usually 4 in number, arteria lumbalis, arteria phrenica inferior, and arteria sacralis mediana. Arteria sacralis mediana, it starts from aorta in lower part, in place where abdominal aorta subdivides into two common iliac arteries. And from this place we have unpaired artery, arteria sacralis mediana, goes to sacral bone. They are parietal branches and visceral. Visceral branches consist of paired and unpaired visceral branches. What is this organ? What is it? Kidney. That is kidney. And we have arteria renalis. Arteria renalis. What is above of kidney? Adrenal gland. Adrenal gland receives three arteries: superior suprarenal artery, middle suprarenal artery, and inferior suprarenal artery. Superior suprarenal start from inferior phrenic, arteria phrenica inferior. Arteria suprarenalis media directly start from abdominal aorta, and arteria suprarenalis inferior start from arteria renalis. Another visceral, paired visceral branch that is in male, that is arteria testicularis, in female, arteria avarica, avarian artery, arteria avarica. They are paired visceral branches. And now Oh, it is the same. You should understand that from both sides. And now unpaired visceral branches. That is diaphragm, it is abdominal aorta, and first unpaired visceral branch, that is short artery. It has 2-3 centimeters usually. Celiac trunk, truncus celiacus, celiac trunk. And celiac trunk subdivides into 3 main branches. 3 main branches. Look here. What is this organ? That is the stomach. Here it is duodenum. Here it is pancreas. Here it is spleen. And here it is liver. And now branches of celiac trunk. First, that is arteria gastrica sinistra, left gastric artery. Arteria gastrica sinistra, it goes to lesser cavity of the stomach. Next, second branch, that is arteria hepatica communis. And last, that is arteria lienalis, splenic artery. Gastrica sinistra, arteria gastrica sinistra, hepatica communis, and arteria lienalis. Arteria hepatica communis gives arteria gastroduodenalis, gastroduodenal artery, arteria gastroduodenalis, and from this place continues into proper hepatic artery, arteria hepatica propria, and proper hepatic artery gives arteria gastrica dextra, and right gastric artery makes anastomosis in lesser cavity of the stomach with left gastric artery. Here it is, in lesser cavity of the stomach. And from this place, proper hepatic artery goes to liver and subdivides into right and left branches, ramus dexter and ramus sinister. And ramus dexter gives, usually from ramus dexter, arteria cystica goes to the gallbladder. Arteria cystica usually starts from ramus dexter of arteria hepatica propria. Now, gastroduodenal artery, arteria gastroduodenalis, subdivides into 2. Arteria gastroepiploica dextra, it goes to greater cavity of the stomach, and arteria pancreatica duodenalis superior. It supplies head of pancreas and duodenum. They are terminal branches of gastroduodenal artery. One again, arteria gastroepiploica dextra, or sometimes speak about arteria gastroamentalis dextra, or gastroepiploic artery, and pancreatica duodenalis superior. What else? From splenic artery, arteria lienalis, it gives rami pancreatice, that supplies body and tail of pancreas, and it gives arteria gastroepiploica sinistra. Arteria gastroepiploica sinistra makes anastomosis with arteria gastroepiploica dextra in greater cavity of the stomach. And last, the same from splenic artery, we have arteria gastrica brevis, short gastric arteries, and these arteries, arteria gastrica brevis, makes anastomosis with arch in lesser cavity and with arch in greater cavity of the stomach. Clear it is? That is why if next time I ask you blood supply of stomach, you should answer that lesser cavity of the stomach has arch with the help of arteria gastrica sinistra from celiac trunk and arteria gastrica dextra from proper hepatic from common hepatic, and common hepatic from celiac trunk. Another arch we have in greater cavity with the help of arteria gastroepiploica sinistra from splenic artery and arteria gastroepiploica dextra from gastroduodenal artery, and gastroduodenal from common hepatic, and common hepatic from celiac trunk. And both of these arches join together in the region of fundus of stomach with the help of arteria gastrica brevis from arteria lienalis, and arteria lienalis directly start from celiac trunk. Next, another unpaired visceral branch, that is superior mesenteric artery, arteria mesenterica superior. And first branch from superior mesenteric artery, that is arteria pancreatica duodenalis inferior. It was superior artery from gastroduodenal and inferior pancreatica duodenal artery from superior mesenteric. Clear it is. It supplies also head of pancreas and duodenum. Then another branches, arteria intestinalis, this arteries goes to small intestine and subdivides into two types of branches. Arteria jejunalis goes to jejunum, and arteria ilealis goes to ileum. And these arteries makes anastomosis in mesenterium of small intestine. First row of anastomosis, then second row of anastomosis, and if we speak about jejunum, in jejunum we have third row of anastomosis, and after that arteries goes to small intestine and supplies it. They are arteria jejunalis and arteria ilealis. Next branch, that is arteria ileocolica, ileocolic artery. This artery goes to cecum, terminal end of ileum, and it gives arteria appendicularis, which supplies appendix vermiformis. Here it is, arteria ileocolica, and branch, that is arteria appendicularis. What is next department of large intestine? Ascending colon. That is, from superior mesenteric artery we have arteria colica dextra, right colic artery. It subdivides into descending branch and ascending branch. That is right colic artery, arteria colica dextra. Colon ascendens continues into transverse colon, and from superior mesenteric artery we have arteria colica media, and arteria colica media subdivides into right and left branches and supplies transverse colon. Right branch makes anastomosis with ascendens branch of right colic artery, and left branch makes anastomosis with another artery, that is inferior mesenteric artery, arteria mesenterica inferior, and it gives arteria colica sinistra, arteria sigmoidea, and arteria rectalis superior. Colica sinistra makes anastomosis with arteria colica media and supplies descendens colon. Arteria sigmoidea supplies sigmoid colon, and arteria rectalis superior goes to upper part of rectum. Clear? Not necessary to draw. Only you will answer. This diagram is only for your understanding. And 99% that I ask you blood supply of inner organs. For example, stomach I already explained. What about pancreas? Head of pancreas receive blood from superior pancreatica duodenal artery and inferior pancreatica duodenal artery. Superior artery from gastroduodenal, gastroduodenal from common hepatic, and common hepatic from celiac trunk, and inferior pancreatica duodenal artery from superior mesenteric artery. Body and tail of pancreas receive rami pancreatici from arteria lienalis, and arteria lienalis from celiac trunk. blood supply of small intestine. Small intestine consists of duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. Duodenum receive blood from pancreatica duodenalis superior and pancreatica duodenalis inferior. Jejunum and ileum receive blood from superior mesenteric artery. Arteria jejunalis and arteria ilealis makes 3 rows of anastomosis in mesentery of jejunum and 2 rows of anastomosis in ileum. And last branch, arteria ileocolica, ileocolic artery supplies terminal end of ileum. Clear? Large intestine, cecum and appendix vermiformis receive blood from ileocolic artery and arteria appendicularis from superior mesenteric. Ascendens colon, arteria colica dextra, the same from superior mesenteric. Transverse colon, arteria colica media, the same from superior mesenteric artery. Descendens colon, arteria colica sinistra from inferior mesenteric. Sigmoid colon, the same from inferior mesenteric. And upper part of rectum, the same from inferior mesenteric artery. We have arteria rectalis superior. Blood supply of adrenal gland. 3 suprarenal arteries, superior from phrenica inferior, middle from aorta abdominalis, and inferior from arteria renalis. What about blood supply of diaphragm? We have arteria phrenica superior from thoracic part of aorta, arteria phrenica inferior from abdominal part of aorta, and another 2 arteries you already know from previous classes. Who remember? Which arteries goes to diaphragm from subclavian? From subclavian artery, arteria subclavia gives arteria thoracica interna, and arteria thoracica interna gives arteria pericardiaca phrenica. It supplies pericardium and diaphragm, and terminal branch, arteria muscula phrenica, the same goes to diaphragm, and another terminal branch, arteria epigastrica superior, it goes to anterior abdominal wall. That is why diaphragm receives blood from superior and inferior phrenic artery, pericardiaca phrenic artery from thoracica interna, and muscular phrenic artery, the same from thoracica interna, and thoracica interna from subclavian artery. Yeah? Okay. Next time, thoracic and abdominal part of aorta. Thoracic aorta and abdominal. Till here. Till iliac arteries. Level of bifurcation of aorta into common iliac, that is L4. Level of 4th lumbar vertebra. That is place where abdominal aorta subdivides into common iliac. Well, till here. That is all. Your questions? Goodbye.